locked. Someone want to try that door, see if it opens. I don't expect it to be. This place, as you see the for sale sign right there, this building is for sale. I'm going to take you around immediately to show you some of the leachate. We'll walk around the building this way. We'll try not to step in too much water. I noticed there's some here, but we can bypass it, I think, I hope. And watch out for snapping branches. So we're going to walk over this way. And notice you're walking on glass right here, but don't worry about getting cut. You won't get cut. And watch out again for snapping branches. Huh. Notice the orange tape there and over there. I did something a little while ago which people thought I was crazy in doing, and maybe I was and still am. I talked the selectmen for the town of Farmington into allowing me to approach the Sandy River Recycling Association to ask them if they would be so kind as donate to us a piece of land, which is where the composting facility is. We're going to go there next. And all this land belonged to the town of Farmington. They sold it to the Sandy River Recycling Association, SRRA, it's easy to say that, I guess. They sold to them so they could build this massive building, and they got a grant for $150,000 to build it. And I wish I could take us in. Someone check that door too, just in case. If they forgot and left something open. Nope. So I can't take you around the inside, but it's empty. They've emptied everything out. Normally on this field trip we come down, Ron Slater comes out and talks to us. When we go in and we take a look at all the various materials that they recycle, and they recycle them by baling them into big 1-ton bales and then sell the bales through a middleman who calls up and says, hey, we need a truckload of cardboard. You got it? And Ron says, yep, I got a truckload of cardboard. And shortly thereafter, a big semi shows up on the other side to land at the loading dock, and they shuffle out all these 1-ton bales that they made with a big machine that compresses everything together and puts wire around it. And so we get to see the bales. They got bales of aluminum, they got bales of cardboard, they got bales of newspaper, they got bales of box board, they got bales of everything. And they would sell them, but the market is very volatile. It changes up and down radically. One day you might get $300 a ton for cardboard, and a day later you might get $105 a ton, and the week later it'd be $82 a ton, and then back to 300 or somewhere. China was buying all the box board. They stopped buying box board because there were too many pizza boxes and other boxes that contained food that was uneaten and rotted in the 2 or 3 months it took to get to China. Because you bale it here, they haul it to some port somewhere, it ends up on the west coast and sits a month there, and then it gets on a ship and gets to China, and it sits a couple of months there, and then finally somebody opens up the bale to use the material, and they love box board because they can make all sorts of stuff out of it, and it's full of decayed, decomposing foodstuffs, and they said, frig it, you guys are too sloppy. China telling us we're too sloppy. We're not going to buy your box board anymore. Box board would be any thin cardboard like stuff for like cereal boxes or the boxes that you buy most anything in, that electronics and stuff like that. That's all box board. But anyway, what you see here while I'm talking is a gasoline oily reflecting area down there. For sure, that's going to be organic material. You see the bright orange stuff that's in there, that's manganese dioxide or iron oxide. And you see it's coming out, not just down here. There's no stream. We didn't go over a stream. This is coming directly from the landfill. And so it's oozing out some of it up. You can see places where it's running down, but you don't see it running very heavily now, but it's moving in this direction. That color of gasoline staining, if you will, or film on top of the water, you can find in the woods. If you go out to meet nature, you'll find this in a stream in the woods. You will also find some of this orange stuff, but not as much as you have here, because this, and by the way, it's the orange stuff is about the least toxic. The oily stuff is probably more toxic, and what you can't see in there is probably even more toxic than that. Back to where we walked in on glass. All along the edge here is glass. Why? Because Ron was one of these guys who was a regular Mainer with a really good head on his shoulders, and they look up there. That's quite a bit of height to the roof, which comes down very steeply and has no gutter for water. So, and this is all sand that we're on right now. And it turns out, after they build a building very quickly, this sand eroded away. There were no trees. These are all relatively new. These not more than 10, 15 years old at most here. This is all young stuff. He'd come in and bulldoze more, they'd have to bring in lots of sand. They'd bulldoze all the sand in here. They kept a little swale so it wasn't leaching then, but any leachate that eventually would come in, and over there it's really coming down out of the soil. I hadn't seen that one. But anyway, this would wash away in a rainstorm. And so finally he said, wait a minute, we got to stop it from washing away. Why did it wash away? The water running off the roof came right down through you guys right there and just started eroding away everything right there. So they said, wait a minute, we get tons of glass. Glass doesn't bring any money, particularly colored glass, green and brown and black. Nobody wants that colored glass. Only glass up there at the transfer station they take would be glass jars like you can fruits and vegetables in or something like that. They don't want any colored glass. So they would break that colored glass up by putting it out on a concrete pad and taking the skid steer, which is one of the small machines that they would move around these bales of 2-ton bales of stuff, and they just drive. They don't have inflatable tires, solid rubber tires on a very heavy machine. They'd drive around and step on the brake so that the machine would turn and grind the glass essentially into the ground, but not really. They'd break up all these glass jars into pieces of glass that you guys are stepping on. And then once that was all finished, we'd go back to UMF, because early on when I arrived, we had both sororities and fraternities. And that basically the fraternities would come out here, and in order to join a fraternity, rather than getting hazed, they would have them start at that end where you could see lots of glass, and it was no leaves or anything, and they'd have to run bare feet the full length of the building. And if you believe anything I'm telling you right now, I am lying through my teeth. If I was Pinocchio, my nose would be hitting one of those trees over there. We did have sororities and fraternities, and they probably did have hazing, but they didn't have to run barefoot over glass. But the glass is not, it's such that you're not going to get cut on it unless you're in bare feet. It won't go through your shoes. And it stopped all of the water from eroding of the material away. Something as simple as that. Now, we could have gone out and paid a lot of money to buy 3/4 minus crushed stone from the Vinings at a rather hefty amount per yard of crushed stone. But why crushed stone when you got all the glass in there that nobody's paying us for? It just kept mounding up. What are we going to do with it? Let's break it and use it to stop all the erosion. So anyway, let's go this way. And as we go, just look at this and realize this is all leachate coming out of the facility of the dump, pardon me, the landfill, whatever, up there, because it can't go down through the bedrock. So it's just oozing out over the top of the lip of the bedrock. So let's go this way. If you have any questions, just call us.